Oh my gosh. This is such a tough question. I don't know. Yeah, let's
How much time and how much leeway do we have to experiment until
Yeah, there is something quite beautiful about
Yeah.
just the different genres of fashion and how fashion has kind of evolved.
Yeah, it's beautiful. What's your dream outcome every time you work with a client?
Generic is so tricky for me. I think it's because I'm so used to like making things so personal, so individual. Doing a deep dive into your likes. That's essentially where I like to start because
Today on the Resonate podcast, I'm joined by Julienne. She is a sought-after stylist, designer, and creative consultant whose work is featured in big campaigns, editorials, film sets, and fashion shoots. Julienne helps women show up with style, confidence, and creative depth, and today she's here to do the same. Hello, Resonate community, and welcome to the best and the biggest sales and entrepreneurship podcast in the whole wide world. It is Women's Month, and what better way to get started than to get our style together? I've been on this quest over the past year and a half to build my brand, and one of the things that have been so prominent to the work that I do and how I show up is essentially developing my style and mastering how I want to be visible online and in events and all of that kind of stuff. So I brought an expert today that's going to take us through this that I'm so excited. We have Julienne, who is a well sought after stylist, designer, creative consultant, and her work has graced the biggest stages, film sets, and powerful women like Nomza Mombata, Nomdeni Mdagi, whom we've had on the podcast, and many more. Julienne, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
I am so excited to talk to you. I was so stressed coming here because I thought I'm going to talk to a stylist. Like, what do I wear? Oh my gosh.
You did good, girl.
I was like, let me keep it feminine. Let me keep it cute. I don't want to be the examples of what not to do.
No, you really don't.
Okay, awesome. I'm excited. So before we get into the nitty-gritty details and all the juicy information we're looking forward to hearing from you, we start with a fire round of questions because we want to get to know you a little bit better and pick your brain. Are you ready? So I've got 3 questions for you. And the first question, this is my favorite, and I feel like depending on how you answer this, I feel like I'll kind of know you.
Wow. It's like no pressure. Okay.
The first question is, if your wardrobe was a playlist, what would it be?
Oh, gosh. By that, do you mean the different songs I would play in the playlist?
Yeah.
It would be a variety of different things.
Okay.
No, actually, that's really tricky because I typically only wear black for the most part. Black, neutral colors. So it would probably be a little punk rocky.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Except I don't really listen to punk rock anymore, so it's interesting. It would have some soul.
Yeah.
Neo soul more than anything.
I see that.
It would have a lot of jazz.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. This is such a tough question. I don't know. Yeah, let's stick with those 3.
Yeah. That's a very colorful playlist.
Yeah, it is. It's colorful in the sense that I think my style, although I stick to a certain color palette, it really does change depending on my mood. Like there are times I feel extremely girly and feminine. There are times I feel really masculine in just like my expression and the way that I want to carry myself. There are times that I do feel a little bit like Wednesday Addams, black girl version, of course.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah, so it really just depends. It's kind of, it varies, although the color palette is rather finite.
And I actually want to get into that a bit later because that's such an interesting thing. Because I think sometimes we think that if you were to develop a certain style, you must always look similar or the same way all the time. But what you're basically saying is that you can be flavorful but still interpreting a similar message, correct?
Yeah. I think for me, for example, I think a lot of people know me as this person that wears black, and I do wear other shades.
Yeah. Of black.
Neutral colors. But again, it really just depends on my mood. And I think it's really important for me to give myself the flexibility to express how I'm feeling or how I want to portray myself within different genres of fashion or different styles within fashion, because I think black and neutrals can be very limiting. And there's so much to play around with, which is something that I've found because I predominantly wear black and neutral colors. And so, I have my uniform, of course. That makes it easy for me to get dressed every day. But there are times I just feel like kind of embodying a character of some sort.
Yeah.
And I will do that, but then I will kind of stick to my neutral colors.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense. Second question, which item in your closet would you rescue in a fire and why?
My Chanel heels. That's easy. I've thought about this question.
Yeah, really? Well, are they always close enough to reach and run out?
Yeah, and I travel with them. Even if I'm going someplace, because I'm kind of based in between two cities, even if I'm going and I know that I might not be dressing up, or it's wintertime and they're sandals and I might not wear them, I am taking those bad boys with me. Oh my
gosh.
Yeah.
Okay, why? Are they just like a favorite?
They're a favorite, and I think because growing up, Chanel was my favorite brand, and I think the brand represents history and legacy, which is something that I would love to build, and it's a constant reminder. So I'm quite attached to them, and I'm not really sentimental about a lot of pieces unless it's something that maybe I got from my mother or my grandmother.
I see.
But these are quite sentimental. I think they remind me of a variety of different things. They're they're black, of course, but there's something quite dainty about them.
Yeah.
So there's a slight juxtaposition, which I think kind of also maybe embodies my character, my personality, and the ways that I like to express myself through clothing. So yeah.
Okay, that's very interesting. Okay, cool. The last one is, what fashion trend do you secretly wish would come back, even if it's a little cringe?
Oh gosh.
That's very interesting.
I don't know. Is there a trend that I wish? The 70s.
What do people wear in the 70s?
Bell bottoms, a lot of furs. Think Chloe.
Okay.
Chloe had a collection last year and the year before, and their collection was very 70s chic. And I don't know, there's something freeing, glam about the 70s, and I think it's probably one of my favorite eras in fashion. Yeah. I don't know if it's really cringe, though. I mean, it's cringe depending on who you are and what you like, but the 70s can always come back.
Yeah.
There's something also relatively timeless about it.
I see.
Yeah, at least for me, but then I think fashion is also both subjective and objective, so it's yeah.
Okay. That's very interesting. When I was thinking about that, I thought one of the nicest things I've seen recently that I've just been like, oh, I want this. And I don't know, I think it's the 80s where they had like the cassettes and just like long dresses and updos, but very late tea ladylike. Like that, just that polished.
Yes. Oh, more 50s.
Yes.
That Dior new look.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it is,
The best.
Yes. Yeah, there is something really beautiful about that as well.
Yeah.
Not mad at the corsets just cinching in that waist. Just don't eat a whole lot of food when you're wearing it, because you're going to struggle. But yeah, there is something quite beautiful about just the different genres of fashion and how fashion has kind of evolved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. When I got kind of growing up, you'd hear like fashion would be something you'd see on like Vogue magazines or on magazines or fashion show, and not something that we kind of felt like I can be fashionable, or you can incorporate it in your day-to-day wear. And then, for instance, if you work at a corporate, you sort of kind of have an idea of what you wear, and especially depending on the corporate sectors, you've got specific colors you wear at work and specific things, or a uniform, etc. And I remember getting to a point where I had then started my entrepreneurial journey, and I had to sort of kind of start interpreting my own style. And I had such a hard time. And I think I'm still working through that, because it was like, what does that actually look like? So the first question I want to ask you is like, how do we even figure our own, like, what's the conversation that needs to start in order for us to figure our own style? Is it like, do I have to look at my body size? Do I have to look at like what is it? And I remember when we went to Nomdeni's brand building masterclass, the last one, we spoke there, and I was just like, yes, this is the blueprint I think we've all been waiting for. But how do we start maybe thinking about our personal style the right way?
It's such a personal and intimate journey. And for me, how I typically work with my clients is I really want to get to know who they are at their core. What are your beliefs? What do you like? What do you not like? What makes you feel really confident? Um, is there a specific genre that you're attached to? So doing a deep dive into your likes, that's essentially where I like to start. Because if you are just following trends and what somebody else is wearing, that trend might not necessarily be something that resonates with your personality, your character, or where you're trying to go. It might not be something that is flattering. It might not be something that works for your environment where you work or, essentially your career. So there's so much that you kind of need to look into. And I like to say once you're doing that, you start off by writing a whole bunch of words and phrases that encapsulates how you want to feel, how you want to be perceived, and the things that you really love. And once you do that, you then start going through Pinterest, magazines. You can even take images of people that you really like, people watching or whatever. And you start noticing certain patterns. You start noticing things that you resonate towards. Oh, I actually realized that like a lot of the images that are saved have a lot of blue. And I really love the color blue. I noticed that a lot of the images that I save, the women or men, depending on your style, aren't wearing a lot of jewelry. So I guess I don't really like that much jewelry, or I like my jewelry to not be so much of a statement. I see that I gravitate towards pants whenever I'm shopping. And then once you've created that mood board, what I like to advise people is go into a store and start trying on different clothes. And don't just limit yourself to the clothing that you can afford. Go to stores that you can't afford, that aren't within your price range yet, because we're consistently growing and evolving, and you will most likely get there one day. Try on things that make you and notice how you feel. So if you try something on and you feel really good, take note of what it is about that garment that put that smile on your face. I think we all have these pieces in our wardrobe that we really, really love. Anytime you put that on, you're like, oh my gosh, I feel so good. And you get compliments. That's what you need to gravitate towards. I think a lot of times people buy clothing for convenience, and it's stuff that they don't even really like. And you don't feel that great wearing something that you don't really feel that comfortable or confident in. So stick to what you like. So for example, I've had so many people, especially my mother, she loves to tell me, you should wear a lot of colors, you would look great in bright colors. And I'm like, okay, thank you. But no, I have my color palettes because I don't feel like myself when I'm wearing, especially if it's like a combination of different colors. It just doesn't feel like me. And even if it's something that maybe suits me, I'd prefer to stick to something that feels authentically Jules, essentially. Yeah.
That I find that so interesting because when we talk about color palettes, I've seen, I think it's in China, there's this new thing I've been seeing on TikTok where like people they get these different color cloths put on their chest to figure out what kind of color makes their face pop, etc. Is the choosing or choice of color potentially informed by that, or is it more of like a feeling thing? Like how do we work through color? We had Sam Kemhlongo, who's like an international speaker on the podcast, and one of the things she mentioned, she does a lot of stage work, and one of the things she said, she said, if you want to look and feel royal, always wear one color from head to toe. So don't like do green, pick just one color throughout, and you're gonna feel amazing. But it's almost like, is there like how do you group? Because I feel like you also have, like, you will say, I'll do black and X or these colors and neutral colors. How did you get to that point? Was it a preference thing where you kind of had, or feeling, or like a study based on how they looked on you?
A combination of the two. I think it started off with a preference, and then I wanted to zero in on what actually worked and what didn't work. And essentially, we all have different undertones. We either have red undertones or yellow undertones, for example. And I think we all fit in within different seasons. So you get spring, summer, fall, and winter. And if you fall within a different season, there are certain color combinations that tend to look better on you. So if you have cool undertones, for example, cooler toned colors tend to complement you, and maybe like silver accessories, they tend to look better on you. Whereas if you have warmer undertones, you would stick to earth tones and warmer hues within the color palette. There's a whole study that's done with regards to that. And I think you can actually, like you said, you've seen those videos.
Yeah.
It's something that I'm quite interested in because I haven't done a full color analysis or a study. It's more my eye picks up on what works and what doesn't work. But I can't always articulate why. And now that I've started understanding color theory as well as the colors that work within or work with different skin tones and undertones, I'm able to kind of put the two together. But also, you know how like you've worn something and random people might even compliment you, like, oh my gosh, you look so good in that color. You look, and it's, those are the colors that you want to stick towards. Colors that make your skin pop are colors that you want to wear. Colors that kind of, you put something on it and it kind of looks like there's a little bit of life that left your body. Those are the colors that you want to stick, that you want to avoid, essentially. That comes with either going to a specialist. And like I said, for me, it's more like on an individual basis because I work with my clients. I'm like, okay, I actually think this works. And once we find a color that works, we try to work within those hues and try to stay away from the colors that don't necessarily complement them. So it is also a journey, and it is intuitive. I think deep down inside, we all have an idea of what really looks good on us and what doesn't. A lot of times we end up just settling because of convenience.
True.
Yeah. Which is also something that's kind of hard to navigate because I know that I've been there too. I've settled for certain things. And I'm like, oh, but it's more convenient, as opposed to analyzing what looks good on me and what doesn't.
I mean, I can even attest to that. Like, I don't like shopping. I do not like shopping. I only go buy clothes because I probably have an event and I need a specific kind of clothing. But I will really just go out to say, I'm actually going to go buy clothes. I'll just like pick up pieces, or if I see something while I'm doing something else, I'll just pick it up and go without actually fully like planning it within my entire closet to see how does this fit in with the rest of my style. So I can fully hear when you say that it's more convenience. I've also been introduced to like having a uniform, like people just having like a capsule wardrobe that they wear all the time. And I mean, so I'm a business owner and I work from home. No, by the time this episode's out, we'll be in our new office. Praise Jesus.
We love that.
Yeah, thank you. But I do a lot of working outside.
Okay.
So when I'm at home, in the past, what I used to do is I would just like be in sweatpants or whatever. But then I realized that there was almost like an energy shift when I woke up and dressed up. When I just did like a pair of jeans, but with a cute top. And I just put mascara on and I did my hair. Even just the way that I interacted with my work was very different. And now when I started dressing up more, I started wanting to go outside more versus than being in the house more because I felt much better. And I think sometimes we always feel like, I just don't have the clothes that are going to make me feel like that. So let me just not wear them anywhere. So I want to kind of open this conversation up two ways. And I think the first one is like for women who are business owners and they currently just trying to navigate their work environment, i.e. they either have their own office or they're working from home. How do they work out a capsule wardrobe for themselves, especially when like your entire wardrobe is just too many different things of God knows what. And then I also want to get into like the confidence aspect of it. And, is there some sort of study? Like what's the correlation to how just us paying attention to how we look every day?
So there is definitely a psychology to clothing. And I think something that's really beautiful about what you said is feeling different when you put on clothes that made you feel really good. And I think this is also part of why we have clothing in different categories. Clothing kind of, it's a language on its own. So, for example, if you are watching TV and there's a head of state, if he was in sweats, you probably wouldn't take him seriously. You know, you see she, you see them wearing clothing that speaks to authority, you know, so gravitating towards, and this is why it's so important, understanding what you want to feel and how you want to be perceived, because then you start navigating towards the garments and essentially the wardrobe that speaks to that. So it's almost like you kind of need to reverse engineer it. So if I have a job that's extremely demanding, I'm consistently busy, I'm traveling, you know, but I run a business, I'm consistently running errands, you're a busy person. You need a wardrobe that actually speaks to that, which means you need clothing that are easy enough for you to wear without you having to figure out how to pair them. So it's and for me, I guess this is how I've kind of figured out my process of working with my clients and why I like to get to know them and where they're going and how they want to feel, because that's essentially where I start and then I reverse engineer it. So, you know, for example, I do have some clients who travel a lot and who can go from a podcast to a meeting to this to that. And they don't really have time to change in between their different meetings. So they need clothing that's versatile. They need clothing that doesn't wrinkle too easily. So these are all things that you kind of have to consider. And I suppose for me, and I think different people work differently, this is just how I've managed to operate and help my clients, is reverse engineering it and finding out where it is you're trying to go, what it is you're trying to do, what it is you're trying to have your clothing say about you before you even speak. And then you gravitate towards that. And like I said, different clothing has different categories and it serves different purposes. I hope that answers your question.
That definitely does. And I actually wanted to like put you on the spot a bit in terms of giving us an idea of an outfit that would be like a generic capsule wardrobe that I can like leave, go pick up my daughter at school, go to the shops, potentially bump into my client at the shops, but still be like, okay, I look good, I'm fine. You know, like what would you, just on a generic perspective, like what would something like that look like?
Generic is so tricky for me. I think it's because I'm so used to like making things so personal and so individual. But I think you kind of hit the nail on the head with what you were saying about wearing a pair of jeans that fit really well and a great top. Because this is the first thing that people see. People see your face and then they see, you know, your neck that's attached to your body and then your top part. They're not necessarily looking at your pants or your shoes. I mean, it does complete the outfit, which is why, you know, it's very important to have everything make sense and look good. But I think having really good tops that fit well, a color that complements, because the bottoms, you know, we could all use a pair of really great black pants that are, you know, slacks tailored, a pair of really great jeans, a skirt if you prefer that. And those can be the more neutral pieces that kind of fit in within your wardrobe. But having tops that speak to those colors that really work is something that I think is really important and helps. Pieces, if you are someone who, you know, you said you're going from different places, you definitely want to wear something that is comfortable. I think fabric choice is also something that's really important when it comes to comfort. So sticking to more natural fabrics means you're able to move with a little bit more ease, just because your body doesn't generate as much heat as it does when you're wearing synthetic fabrics. So especially if you're like busy and running around, if you're wearing a silk blouse and it's polyester, you're probably going to sweat a little bit more than if you're wearing something in cotton or natural or like 100%
with
silk.
I've even parked it. Especially with like my hectic silk tops, is like if you're dropping off a toddler at school, and then you still like something's bound to happen.
And then like it snags.
Oh my gosh!
So silks are probably like the tops that you want to say for when you're not as busy. I think your natural fabrics like your cottons, your linens, something that maintains its shape. So that when you're wearing it, you're not consistently having to adjust. You know that the way that you saw yourself when you left the house is more or less how you're going to look when you're running around. You're not adjusting things. So that thing of comfort is really, really important. Which sounds a little bit, I guess it's also kind of generic, or not generic. It's general because it depends on what comfort means to you. But yeah, a really good top, something that's comfortable, something that maybe has a little bit of a detail. And detail also depends. Like, I'm looking at your blouse now, you know, it's cut really well. It fits you really well. It doesn't really require that much because the texture speaks to luxury. Just because it's not a flat fabric. So it's not cotton. I think it's like a satiny.
Yeah, it's more satin.
Yeah. And it has weight, and I can tell that it's going to maintain its shape throughout the day. So something like what you're wearing, and then especially if it has a collar or some kind of detail, tends to feel like you have put in an effort.
I like that.
As opposed to maybe just a t-shirt, unless it's a t-shirt that has a detail. But I love a good blouse or a good shirt. And if it is something more simple, like for example with what I'm wearing, it has a little bit of a cutout so that doesn't look like I'm just wearing an undershirt.
It's like there's something going on here.
There's something here. Yeah, and the fit is really, really, really important. The fit will determine whether you look frumpy or well put together.
Would you say that, you know, we obviously also have to go through a mindset shift in terms of moving away from our comfort zone to the things that are going to make us look good? Because I do remember like having that when I had to actually focus on the way that I look. Sometimes I would put an outfit on and everyone's like, it looks so amazing. But I'm like, it's not what I would normally wear and it's out of my comfort zone. So how do we like, is it just, do you just need to be willing to take that almost, I won't even say it's a discomfort. It's just a newness.
Yeah.
And that makes you nervous.
Yeah. And you have to understand where the nerves are coming from. Do you feel like it's not you? Do you feel like a completely different person? Do you feel like an imposter? Do you feel like you get too much attention? Do you feel like... And I think that's one of the things that I love about working with fashion, because you really do have to consistently, especially when you're discovering your personal style, you really do have to consistently ask yourself different questions about what this garment that you're wearing is saying, how it makes you feel. Why is there a discomfort? You know, is it a discomfort because there's something that you're trying to hide that you're now revealing, and now you have to get used to revealing something that you're used to hiding? Which is tricky because it's kind of one of those questions that you have to answer for yourself. But notice where that discomfort is coming from. If you don't feel good in it, there's a discomfort that feels like it's something new. This is a shift, and that's going to be uncomfortable, of course. And then there's a discomfort that kind of feels like this is really not me, and I'm just uncomfortable. I don't feel confident in my skin. There's you know, sometimes you want to feel confident, but you're like, I don't know, I'm maybe not used to feeling this confident. And especially if you're getting a lot of attention, if you're not necessarily used to dressing like that, it's going to feel uncomfortable at first. And perhaps push yourself a couple of times to see if that discomfort eases.
Like that.
And if it does, then you know, okay, it was just nerves.
I like that.
But if it doesn't, then you kind of have to ask yourself a few more questions as to why, you know, this is something that you don't really want to be able to wear and you know, experiment with.
I like that very much. So I recently went to an optometrist and I was getting my glasses done, and I remember before we went, I had to like put on my hair, just look like my usual self, because I've been working so much on my image, I kind of felt like whatever frame I'm going to get has to fit the entire aesthetic, the whole shabam. It can't be like a frame that looks good when I'm with my cornrows only, and then when I put a wig on, it's a different thing. Or when I've got a fringe, or versus when I've got a head wrap, you know, and it actually just reminded me of like the power of, when we talk about personal style, it's like it's not only the clothing, but it's also like what's on your head.
Yes.
And the wigs that we wear and
Yes.
how often we change. And when you do change, what do you change it to? Because then that influences everything. How do we also, as part of our personal style, it's like, I've seen certain outfits for myself and even for other people that it's like, this outfit looks good, but if the hairstyle was different,
Woo!
it would have been amazing.
Yep.
It's like if just the hair had been maybe tied or shorter or a bit more like frizzy or whatever. But you can just see that hair plays a huge role.
Yeah.
And how the full look comes together.
Yeah.
But because we don't know, we'll just maybe develop our clothing.
Yes.
But we're also not working on what our hair looks like to complete the entire look.
Yeah.
Where do we start with that?
Definitely going to a hairstylist.
Okay.
And if you don't want to do that, perhaps, and that can get a little bit expensive.
Yeah.
You're trying different hairstyles.
Okay.
I've had to kind of go through that journey myself, and I'm still on that journey where I'm trying to figure out what I really want to do and what my brand is when it comes to my hair. And now I've settled for bangs. So now any hairstyle that I get, I'm just going to do bangs. I'm going to try that out for a while and see how that works for me. And I think trying and going through like a trial and error, if you're not going to go to a hairstylist, you are going to have to go through a trial and error because, seeing yourself with a different hairstyle just makes you understand or get a better understanding of what works and what doesn't. Yeah. And a hairstylist will be able to tell you on the spot. I think because of, the shape of your face, your eye shape, your brows, your jawline, this is what works. You get some people who are really fortunate and they can kind of pull off different hairstyles. And you get some people who, it's better if they stick to this, and the other. So that really is a trial and error, but also it's very important when it comes to styling. I think a lot of people, when you look at an image of a celebrity, they look good from head to toe. That outfit is complemented by the hair is complemented by the outfit, the makeup kind of ties everything in. These are all things that, when curated properly, really create a complete look that feels really polished. Hair has a way of just like making you look really polished. Like you could wear a paper bag. Don't quote me on this because I'm a stylist. But if your hair and your glam is good, listen, that's what we're seeing. The paper bag is probably not going to look that great. But what I'm saying is that it really does take things over the top. And it accentuates everything else. It really also just brings out a different level of confidence. And I think there's also a care that comes with hair and makeup that we don't all have the skills, and being able to do your hair really well is a skill. It's a skill, which is why not everybody walks around with the perfect wig or perfect face beat, because it is really difficult. It is something that I think if you are able to invest in that, definitely go for classes and learn as much as you can, just so that when you are presenting yourself, especially if it doesn't necessarily have to be, on a day-to-day, I feel like you can definitely look great daily. It's just a matter of being quite organized and prepared. But just so that even when you're going out and you do want to put in that extra effort and you might not want to, spend money on hiring somebody, you at least have the basic skills on how to do, X, Y, and Z, because you know that this hairstyle works. Find one or two hairstyles that work really well. And stick to that. There's nothing wrong with that. That also just kind of becomes your signature. If you want to experiment, that's fine. But if you can master one or two things, it helps for when you are on the move and you just don't have time. You don't need to add to like decision fatigue by trying to figure out, how do I do this again?
Yes.
Because you kind of already have that skill.
Yeah, I remember when I gave birth, I just bought a blonde curly wig.
Nice.
I was just going to chuck it on my head and get on about my business. I didn't want to worry about glue. Fixing it or curling it or ironing it. I was like, no, this is, we're going to go, Do you think that it is how long do we have to experiment, especially when building a brand? You know, I take my let's say my blueprint from people like your Oprah Winfrey, who's had the same hairstyle for her entire show from the moment she started. And yes, you would see she developed it a little bit, but it wasn't far off to completely make her look different.
Yeah.
People like your Beyonce, who's only changing her hair now after so many years of being in the industry. How much time and how much leeway do we have to experiment until we have to settle? Or not settle, but until we have to kind of build a brand that has a consistent image. And how consistent? Because I mean, especially for us Black girls, we love a good wig. Like 1 minute we need it long, 1 minute we need it short, curly, frizzy, whatever the case is. But how do we then navigate that but still maintaining a consistent look?
I think if you start off with what you know works and master that. Once you've mastered that, you always have a baseline to go back to, especially when you're trying to figure out what next. What is my next wig? What is my next look? Braids, this, that. You have a baseline. You know that, okay, I have a super busy week. I have an event. I have this. I have meetings. I have a lot of running around. I might be traveling. You want to have that baseline so that it's easy to always go back to. Once you have that baseline, and I would say maybe 2 or 3, you can even just have 1. After that, when things aren't as hectic, I think that's the time to experiment. Don't try to experiment when you have the craziest week and you're like, you know what I'm going to do? Try out a new hairstyle.
It might not work out.
Woo, because it will ruin your confidence real quick and will humble you. Okay.
You know what I've noticed? Like the day you try too hard and try too many different things, that's the day it does not work out.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And you can do that, you know, it really just depends because there are so many options out there.
Yeah.
But as long as you have a baseline, you can take as long as you want to experiment. If you are a public figure or if you're used to people seeing you a certain way, maybe then have your baseline when you're interacting with those people. If you're on holiday and you're with your family, then maybe that's when you can kind of experiment. You know how, you know, sometimes, you know, new wig, new you, and people might not even recognize you. If that's the effect that you want, then consistently change your hair. If you want people to associate you with a brand, then there's a certain consistency that comes with that. I hope that makes sense.
I can't, you know, like I personally discourage people from having the whole new wig, new you all the time, especially if you want to build a brand, because they might not be able to recognize you. And it's like you can't build from there. So my thing is always like, I think to your point, 2 or 3 at most. But there must be some consistent trend of if we were to bump into you, we shouldn't be asking like, is this her? Is it that person? Because I don't think that should be fun. But I think to your point, it's maybe because we are still experimenting and the experiment is taking too long to get wrapped up. So we're doing too many different wigs and too many different colors and too many different things. And that could be a sign that the personal style hasn't been locked down yet.
Yeah. And sometimes what ends up happening is your personal style might be locked down and then you're still trying to figure out, you know, that hair journey and where you actually stand. You can definitely walk into a hair salon that has wigs or wig store and, you know, they give you a wig cap and you can try on different wigs and see what works, you know, and you similar to that confidence that you feel and that you experience when you wear something that just looks really good on you and you're like, oh my gosh, this is the outfit, this is the one. You're definitely going to experience that with trying on different wigs and different hairstyle. Well, wigs because they're easy enough to remove if you give yourself an hour to just kind of try on different ones. That's probably the easiest or shortest way that you can kind of get to the conclusion of where you stand with regards to your branding and your hair and what looks really good on you. And then you have that baseline.
You know, as you're saying, I just thought of something so funny. I don't know if this has ever happened to you where you always bump into the same person with the same outfit. Like, even if you wear it's like,
I swear I have different clothes.
It's like, I promise I have more clothes. You just happen to meet me when I'm wearing this specific outfit. That's always the most hilarious thing ever. You're just like, you know what? It's like, and it's sometimes not even people that you know, but it's like, it's like, I know they saw me see them see me for the third time in this outfit. And I almost want to be like, hi, my name is Michelle, and I do have a lot of clothes.
I swear. It's not just this outfit.
Yeah, it's like, this is not, you just happen to bump into me every time I have this on because it's literally my favorite thing. But I like one thing that you mentioned is like, if there is something that you really like and it makes you feel good, try to do more of that, especially if it's like low maintenance. Because I can imagine for moms as well, like you just want the quickest, like, but you also want to look good at the same time. And you also want, that leeway. Like for me, I don't like, I have gone to a point I've mastered how to do my makeup in like 10 to 15 minutes. I don't like stuff that takes long. I want to get out. If it's going to take me 2 hours to get ready, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
I might as well get a makeup artist in and actually allocate my entire evening. So that's very, very nice. I've seen, back in the day, Ginny Mai used to have a show on like a fashion show where they used to like
makeovers.
Yeah, it was like but it had a name. I don't remember what it was. It was on like E or something like that.
I remember it.
That like and it would be like you are seeing a different person and like on a complete makeover. And I know right now there's like a lot of, there's Women's Month, so there's a lot of women's events, Agenda Women being one of them, which we are all going. Thank you very much. And especially I feel like there's a bit of pressure when you go to a women's event because you're just like, I know the girls going.
Yes. You know? We dress for women more than men, to be honest, because they notice things that like I don't think men will just be like, I think that looks nice. Great. The women would be like, oh my gosh, okay, the jewelry's going with this and that. Okay, cool. You're matching this. Like we go into details and we hype each other up quite differently than I guess men do.
Absolutely. I want to find out from you, what are the common trends that are happening, especially in 2025 and the remainder of 2025? Like what kind of, and by trends, it could be like timeless stuff that people can invest in, sort of kind of trying to put together in their outfits to wear, or rather must-haves.
Must-haves.
And besides a coat.
Oh yeah, you definitely need a good coat.
Good one.
Okay, so personally, and a lot of my clients know, because I'm always trying to put people in great suits, have a really good suit.
Oh, yes.
Or something that is tailored and structured. You put that on and you just feel like you're taking over the world.
Yeah.
There is something about a suit. It's the structure, it's the cut, it's what it's associated with that really just makes you feel like quite a boss. And what I love about suits is that, you can wear the jacket with a different pair of pants. You can wear the pants with a different kind of top. So there's versatility there. And then also must-haves. This is so tricky because different people have different styles. So I'm always like, those videos that say, these are the 12 must-haves and this is how to build a capsule collection.
Yeah.
I sometimes have an issue with that because I'm like, not everybody wants to wear a black dress, but in every video have a little black dress. I'm like, there are people who would, unless they're going to a funeral, they're not trying to wear black.
Yeah. Or like a little dress.
Or a little dress. Do you know what I mean? Like if you dress completely differently, I think capsules can be a little bit
It's like limiting.
They're limiting, but I think for a person who is trying to have a more classic look, I think the usual items that you would find in a capsule collection definitely works. So a really beautiful blouse. And by blouse, I mean something like what you're wearing. Okay. You cannot go wrong with a blouse. And it can have a lot of detail. It can be really simple. It speaks to your personality. So I know for myself, as much as I wear a lot of black, some of my favorite blouses are just white silk blouse. I feel so fabulous, and I can wear that with anything. Throw on a pair of jeans. I can wear it to the beach. I mean, I will try to find different ways to wear a white silk blouse. A button-down white shirt. So good.
Must have.
So good. And again, it's for people who have more of a classic style. But I think the cool thing about fashion is that you can really find a white blouse, a white shirt, or any kind of top that really suits your personality and personal style. I think, so a suit, definitely some really great blouses. a great pair of pants, whether you are a trousers girl or guy, if you are a jeans girl or guy, definitely get yourself a pair that fits you to perfection. And the way you do that is you have it tailored. You find something that perhaps might be a little big on the waist, but it sits really nicely around the thighs and the bum area, but then the waist has that little gap. Have that taken in. Don't let that discourage you because, you know, women here are gifted with their beautiful bodies. Okay. So do not let some of these cuts kind of discourage you because I don't think that clothing is always cut to suit Black women.
Yeah.
And I think getting a really good tailor so that they can cinch things in where they fit will make all the difference in the world. So it really is more about finding pieces that you love and then having them altered so that they fit you well. A fit is everything. Like the way something fits on you, it could literally make or break your outfit.
I can see that. I loved when you said a suit because I'm such a suit girl. Like I will suit up. You have to ask me to not wear a suit.
Yeah.
It's like, you have to beg me, say, Michelle, we're doing dinner or lunch. Don't wear a suit.
I will always, and I'm like, I can find you a suit for any occasion. Okay. Yeah, like suits are really, really, really good. I think also for people who are consistently on the move, on the go, have some great sets. Because that way you don't have to struggle with what should I match this up with. You have a pants that comes with the bottom. You're good to go. You can wear that in different ways. It's easy for you to travel with, especially something that kind of has a little bit of a flow. And that's great for if you want to dress it up, dress it down. If you do like something that's a little bit more structured, you can also go for that. But have different sets. I have some clients who that's part of their uniform. You know that once or twice a week, they're wearing a matching set because they do not have to go through decision fatigue trying to figure out how do I match this again. And if you do like more feminine cuts and, you know, that form of expression, dresses, because a dress means you don't have to worry about matching it with anything but shoes and a handbag and accessories.
Yeah, that's very nice. What are your thoughts on, like, what is it called, a Canadian tuxedo?
I mean, it's tailored and it's tailoring. So I think anything that speaks to tailoring, as long as it fits well.
I think that's the key. Is like, as long as it fits well, it's going to look good on you.
Yeah. As long as it fits well and the color complements your complexion. Yeah.
It's very interesting. I want to get into a bit of accessorizing because so we see these videos online around like people just saying this is just how I dress it and this is how I style it. And what's usually the difference is like a belt here and there, things move the right way and accessories. How do you know? And I think for me the contrast is like between gold jewelry or silver. Like is that more like a skin tone, undertone situation? So how do you actually start finding out what really looks good on you from a color perspective and an accessory perspective?
So if you have warmer tones, gold, coppers tend to look better on you. And if you have cooler tones, then more silvers. And that's also one of those things where you have to try it on to kind of see what works and what doesn't.
Yeah.
I think a good test as well is if you're in a store and there's some sales assistant, you can put on one of each and you ask them, what do you think looks better on me? And again, anything that makes your skin pop and glow, that's what you want to navigate towards. And if you are doing a side-by-side, so let's say you're trying to figure out gold or silver, have silver on one hand, have gold in the other hand, and just kind of do a side-by-side, and you'll actually really be able to see what looks better. If there's really no difference, chances are you probably have neutral undertones, which means you can kind of go both ways. Yeah, or either or.
Yeah, that's interesting. What have you seen, like what's the one trait you've seen in the most confident women? From like even just their style or even, you know, some of these amazing women that you've dressed. What's the one trait you can say, I think this about them makes them the kind of people that they are?
they know who they are. They know what they want. They know where they're going. And you can see it. And I think it comes with a lot of self-work, inner work. They've asked themselves a lot of these hard questions. They've gone through the ups and downs of trying to figure out where they actually kind of fit in within society or their community. They really have a strong sense of self, and they're grounded in something that is a lot deeper than what they look like and how people perceive them. Because that can also shift. Today we like this person, tomorrow we don't. That doesn't necessarily move them because they know who they are. And I think, that's something that we should all aspire to.
Yeah, I like that. That's very beautiful. And I mean, I can attest that, having known, like, for instance, some of the women that you work with, it's like, of course, they definitely know who they are and where they're going and what they want. And I think that's such a big quality trait. Has this something that you've always known for yourself and your journey?
No. No, my journey has meandered, and I think I'm only starting to settle into the where and the why. Because I think before, because I'm an artist, I'm a creative, and I've always been a very curious person. So I try out something that I think looks really cool. And then I dive deep into it. I start a whole business with regards to that. I've had a few businesses in the creative spaces that I've started because I was like, I think this is really great and I want to try it. And I do. And I'm like, not so sure about that. And then I pivot, and I've pivoted quite a bit. And I think styling has allowed me to find a space where the pivot doesn't look as extreme. It's more, how do I grow this? How do I bring more people on board? How do I continue to serve in this space? And now I'm starting to feel a little bit more grounded in being a creative, being an artist, which is not the easiest thing in the world. And it's definitely a journey. There are a lot of bumps and bruises and that come with that discovery, which is okay. I think one thing that has certainly helped me is my community and surrounding myself with people who have consistently cheered me on and believed in me. And it's okay, Jules, you failed, but it's fine. Let's just keep it pushing. It doesn't define you. Community has definitely helped. And I think even looking at the women that I've worked with that do have that strong sense of self, they also just really know their place in their community and how they fit in and who they serve. And it's really beautiful to see. And it's inspired me. And I've grown just being able to work with such incredible women. It really is quite an honor, because I'm able to see them navigate their businesses and everything that they do. And they do it with such grace and such kindness. Which is, it's such a beautiful thing to be able to witness and to be a part of.
It's beautiful. What's your dream outcome every time you work with a client?
That they're happy.
Oh,
I just want my clients to be happy. And the things that I will do to make sure my clients are happy. And that they feel good. There's nothing like being able to see someone just stand up a little bit straighter when they put something on and they kind of look at themselves a couple times and you see their walk is different. And that is, that's really something quite beautiful to witness. It feels like a way of me kind of serving in a way, because I think sometimes when you're working in an industry like fashion that feels extremely superficial, when you're working with clients on a one-on-one basis and you see how clothing can affect their confidence. My confidence is a big thing. It's not just a superficial thing. I know that clothing is something that we put on superficially because it goes on top and that's what people see. But being able to understand how that kind of helps them move in the space that they're moving in or show up at an event, it's a really humbling process and an experience.
Oh, that is so beautiful. And I think, it almost feels like such a dream come true, just being in a space like that where you're working with such amazing women. But more than anything, the outcome is just seeing how they are. It's like you're almost helping them step into their full self.
Yeah.
That is beautiful.
Yeah. And a lot of times they already have an understanding of who that is.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of helping guide them and alleviating the stress sometimes of trying to figure out what it is they want to say with their outfit, because they might have the words and the colors, but then I'm able to physically go out and look for that and then just follow the brief. So sometimes it really is, and I do enjoy those clients. It just, I know exactly what I want.
Yeah.
And I do work with a lot of clients like that, and I'm able to then go out on my little missions and try to find this outfit that says, I'm walking into a room and I'm bold and I'm confident and I'm here to stay. I'm like, okay, now I need to be able to say that with an outfit.
From where I'm sitting, that sounds like a difficult job.
It is. I won't lie.
Because, sorry, wait, what?
Yeah.
Wow. Because things look differently on the shelves and on the hangers than they do on people's bodies.
Yes, they do. So you have to take all of that into consideration. Where they're going, who they're speaking to, their audience, how they want to feel. If a client is trying to they're trying to feel a lot more bold and confident. This is why I really love suits, because I feel like they do that. But if they want to feel a little bit more alluring, or there's a sexy factor that they want to bring into that, then, that has to be taken into consideration with their outfit and their audience, especially because I have worked with quite a lot of public figures. What they wear really has to also speak to the environment that they're essentially operating in.
Yeah.
You can't be speaking to a room of executives and you're in a tiny little black dress. That's going to send the wrong message.
That's
so
true.
Again, clothing really does speak beyond just a garment that's on a hanger.
Yeah. Do you think that it also is correlated to people's personalities? For instance, like people who will refer to themselves as introverts usually would gravitate towards certain kind of outfits or dressing versus extroverts who are like out there. It's like you wouldn't find an introvert dressed in like the brightest color in the room.
Yeah, for sure, because that attracts people. So, and I've had some people that I've worked with that are quite introverted, but they need to tap into their extroverted self for an event. And so they're like, okay, I need to be bold. I just don't want to do that in a color. Can we do that in a neutral color? I'm like, okay, cool. Say less, I got you. So there is a play on that as well. And again, it really just goes back to what it is you're trying to say. And you're saying so much without you even knowing. If you show up to a business meeting and you're applying for a corporate job and you're in your gym clothes, you're basically saying that I'm not actually taking this really seriously, or I was really busy, I just came from gym, I didn't have time. So clothing really does speak to, a lot more than just, like I said, garments on a hanger.
Yeah. And, what I also like about what you're saying is that it goes for everyone across the board, because it's easy for somebody to say, well, I don't have the money. I can't afford to like go buy new clothes. But what I am learning is essentially being able to put an outfit together first with what you have.
Yes.
Before you go out and you buy. And maybe almost like, I was thinking about this the other day and I thought to myself, what would a declutter is probably needed, because you find that you've got too many clothes, but you don't really know what your style kind of looks like. So you have to kind of first go and have a look. But the important thing you shared in the beginning was that if you can put together some form of a mood board and use pictures, and because then you can identify what you have in your cupboard versus the things that you saw that you like, so you can keep those. So it's not about it's not about going to Louis Vuitton or Chanel to get the latest shoes. But whatever store you can afford at the time can accentuate your style.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. And even when I'm doing, when I'm helping my clients, discover or rediscover their style, that's definitely the process that I take them through. Once we've done that mood board, And I've shared it with them, and, you know, we can kind of go through a bit of an audit to say, okay, I think this really resonates with me. Maybe let's remove that. Okay, these are the colors that I really love. Then I go in and we look at their closet. And there are so many clients that I work with that don't wear like maybe 50% of their clothes. Like, there are a lot of clothes that are not being worn.
For everyone, actually. Hey?
There are a lot
of people, yeah.
And I think because we're creatures of habit, so we gravitate towards the thing that is the easiest, and also things that are comfortable.
Yeah.
Convenience. And I'm like, okay, how do we turn that into your wardrobe, but then we just elevate it? I see that you really love dresses. Okay, how do we find more dresses that we love on you? But then now we're looking for additional details, or we're switching up the color or the sleeves or whatever the case might be, because you like dresses and you don't want to have to think about pairing something with something else.
Yeah.
And so, you know, you really can start with what you have and what you gravitate towards. Yeah, and that decluttering is a thing that I think we should all do.
Yeah. It's a lot. You'd be surprised with the amount of clothes you haven't worn.
Yeah.
My previous helper had to call me into like a side meeting, like, I'm washing the same clothes every week and you're repeating the same clothes. And she was literally asking for permission to take what I would have worn and like take it at the back of my cupboard so that she can bring new clothes forward. Because she's like, you're wearing the same thing all the time.
Yes. And I mean, again, we're creatures of habit. We do that. The thing that happens with that is, I think I tried to do that once and I just ended up just going to the back of my closet and getting the same stuff that I always wear. But I realized it's because the stuff that was being moved up were things that I either didn't really know how to style them. And so, especially if I'm like getting dressed in the morning and it's a rush and there's so many things going on, I don't want to have to think about how I'm going to do this, because at the end of the day, I want to leave the house looking my best.
Yes.
Right. And I'm not going to do that if I'm second guessing how to style this piece that I bought because I loved it once and I've just never worn it. And so what I've started doing now is and not everybody has the time, I guess, to do this, but I found that I wear a lot more of my clothes now because I do give myself space within a week to just kind of, when I'm relaxed and, you know, I'm not in a rush to leave the house. I'm like, okay, these are pants that I haven't worn. Do I actually really love them? Or am I holding on to them because I've spent money on them? You know?
And we do that a lot
We do that a lot,
nice
you know, because it's like, this is a really nice thing, or I save it for that special occasion. I'm like, make that special occasion today.
You know, that's a big thing with a lot of women. Is like, you always saving your clothes up for the special occasion.
Guys,
it's like, when is it?
That. It's right now. It's right now. It's having tea in your living room.
Yeah.
And just dressing up because you can. And I know that sounds, I think for some people that just sounds like a waste of time or juvenile or just like, but it feels really good to be able to do that. I'm a shoe girl. I love shoes.
Oh, yeah?
Love shoes. Love shoes, love heels. And because I'm always running around, I don't necessarily get the chance to wear my heels as much as I used to. And so I've made it a point to wear heels at least once a week. It's normally to church on a Sunday. But if not during the week, if I'm not on set or if I'm not at a fitting or if I'm not literally like running around, I will then throw on a pair of heels, probably like something that's a little bit more chunky, because then that makes it easy enough for me to wear, because I don't want to forget that part of me. Like, I love how I feel in heels. I'm also short, so I like feeling tall.
It's just like make somebody feel a bit more.
And you walk different. And I'm like, how do I make space to wear the things that I really love, that make me feel my most confident, instead of saying, well, you know, it's a little bit inconvenient right now, or I'm gravitating towards things that are comfortable. I need to make space for the things that I love. Yeah. You know, and I love being able to help women do that with their style. Like, if you love chunky earrings, okay, let's try to figure out how to do that at least once a week. Even if it is just dinner with your friends, dress up.
Yeah, that's very nice. I love dressing up. I think these days I've started enjoying, especially on a Monday.
Oh, yes. That's right. Doesn't it set the tone?
Yeah. On Monday, it's like, I'm coming for you.
Yeah.
And you just look good.
Yeah.
It's like, you don't even have to, like, these days I even just go to a coffee shop.
Love that.
Yeah.
Love that.
Because you just want to start your week on like a high note.
Yeah.
And with like, because usually if your Monday goes sideways, the rest of the week is going to be a bit challenging for you.
Yeah.
So that's always very nice.
I really love that.
Yeah.
I really love that. Yeah. I don't think I've ever consciously thought of like starting my week on a high note with my outfit, but I think I'm going to.
Yeah, I promise
start
you.
doing that. Actually, thank you.
You are going to love it. It's. I've always been one of those people that I just did not care like what I wore.
Mm-hmm.
I would just wear anything. I was like, whatever. And I remember my sisters growing up would say to me like, "Oh, thank God you're a pretty girl. You can get away with a lot of things." But this is crap, you know? But as I've grown and I'm building my brand, I'm also realizing that how I show up is very, very important. And it also influences a lot around how I feel. And also people treat you differently. Like, people treat you so it's small things like the teachers at your child's school.
Yeah.
Interact with you differently based on how you're dressed.
Wow.
Absolutely differently. And I start imagining whether that then trickles to how they interact with my child.
Very interesting.
But you can tell the difference. Like, and for me, it was like, okay, I really want to show up as the highest version of myself in all the other areas. And I mean, even with people in relationships, like your partner also just kind of, there's like a little bit of a that they do when you look really good.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Right?
For sure.
And this is somebody that normally sees you at your worst most of the time. So imagine the real world when you look really good.
Yeah. And then people are like, you look tired. I've actually had 20 hours of sleep. I'm not tired. I'm just not wearing jewelry or something.
That is so funny. So it's funny when people say that. Like, I get that sometimes and like I don't have makeup on and it's that time of the month and everything is a bit puffy.
Yes.
And everyone's just excited. I'm like,
I'm actually not.
I want to say I can explain.
You need to stop telling people that they look tired also.
Just greet me and go.
Honestly.
Yeah, just greet me and go. Oh my God. Okay. I've got 3 last quick questions for you, okay, that I would like you to complete, okay, as we wrap up the conversation. The first one is if you want to show up confidently this week, start by.
Okay. Oh. Let's try that again.
Okay. The first question is if you want to show up confidently this week, start by. Complete the sentence.
Wearing clothing that makes you feel confident.
Yeah.
You definitely have something in your wardrobe that you put on and you probably save it for special occasions.
Yeah.
Put that on and create a special occasion around it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just challenge yourself.
Yeah. That's going to be a good mental one for the girls because we've got these amazing outfits that we just leave for like that special moment, the dinner, the date. It's like just wear the freaking thing.
Yeah. And dress it up or dress it down if you need to, especially if it's that, if it's a really beautiful blouse or a stunning dress. Dress it down. If you're going to a coffee shop, you can definitely dress it down. If you're going to dinner, you can definitely dress it up.
Yeah.
There are different ways that you can style pieces that feel quite special.
Nice. I like that. Okay. The second one to complete is the color that changed how I saw myself was
white.
Really?
Off-white. Yeah. Yeah. I think I've been wearing a lot of black since I was probably 14. It makes sense why I guess I gravitated towards design and styling. And it got to a point when I was in college where someone asked me if I was in mourning. And I was like, no, I'm actually pretty happy.
Oh my God. Wow.
And I think putting on, because I stayed away from white for the longest time, white, off-white, eggshell. And there's something that feels kind of pure about it. I know that sounds really cliche, but it also made me see myself in a softer light. Just because I think black is quite harsh. And I think I get this from people a lot that I look intimidating. And so white made me feel less intimidating. I'm like, oh, I think I look a little bit more friendly and approachable. And that felt pretty good.
Oh, that's nice. Very interesting. That white would be the color. Okay. The third one is every woman deserves to feel / when she gets dressed. So every woman deserves to feel
confident, sexy, hot, bold.
Yeah.
Important.
Ooh, I can resonate with that. That's nice. Oh, I love that. Like you deserve to feel confident and bold and important.
Because you are.
I love that so much.
Yeah.
I really do. Julienne. Am I saying it right? Julienne.
Julienne.
I keep forgetting Julienne. Julienne, thank you so much for joining me for this conversation. This has been enlightening. And I really hope that the girls are going to take so much insight and tips around just put a little bit of effort. I could sprinkle a little bit. A little bit. And as you go, the little bit becomes a bit more, a bit more, a bit more. And you start actually developing a closet you really, really like.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming and chatting to us.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah. Julienne, everybody, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. I hope that you enjoyed this podcast episode. I think for me, it resonated with me in so many ways because we're coming into spring. It's going to start getting warmer. And we've been having so many conversations around building your brand, building your business, and essentially how you show up being so important. And I really hope that you took so many nuggets from this conversation around the different colors, the different materials, and just the mindset you need to start working on a capsule wardrobe for yourself. I know I'm going to be doing a lot of homework, so if you see me looking cute, just know it's really because of conversations like these that bring me into a different mindset on how I present myself to the world. So with that said, thank you so much. Let me know if you had any aha moments. Let me know in the comment section. If you're listening to this as well, do the same. If you're watching, do the same. We love you guys, and we'll see you guys on our next podcast episode. Goodbye.